Apology, dear viewers, for the breaking transmission. And of course, this is still Big Talk, live from the nation's capital here on Global Television. Thanks so much for joining us and sister with us here on the show. We're still looking at recent political events in the country. They, of course, concern about the APC 10 years rule has, of course, led to a lot of measurement, recalling the fact that today marks exactly 10 years. Goodluck Jonathan, former president, considered defeat to former President Buhari at exactly March 31st, 2015. And I'll 10 years after, a lot of persons continue to look at the journey of our democracy under this all-progressive Congress. And I still have Mr. Femi still here with us on the show. Before we delve into other matters like that of justification of the National Assembly for the state of emergency, because there are a lot of reactions trailing that decision. Some persons are speaking, some persons are criticizing the reason why the president should declare emergency and also suspend democratically elected government in place. Also looking at the fact that the National Assembly have also affirmed that action by the president is still drawing a lot of reaction. Some international bodies, some organizations, even the Nigerian Bar Association are also speaking on this matter. Mr. Femi, before we delve into all of that, other issues, and of course, other concern about the coalition of opposition. The opposition are coming together to replay what happens in 2014 against the ruling party. If that happens, it might have some implication against the re-election of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But speak before we now head stop. APC 10 rules. Do you feel that there is a way that APC will still have an opportunity to correct 8 years of former President Buhari? Because some person said under 8 years of President Buhari, things really got south.
Well, Mike, I don't believe it's a question of a president correcting the mistakes, if you will, of his predecessor, because everybody is different. And a government, at any particular point in time, the way presidents and government does its own thing is going to be quite remarkably different from the way somebody else does his own thing. So the question of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu correcting the mistakes of Buhari, it seems to me, it's really not. It's really not the issue. The issue here is how do we place the country in a sustainable social, economic, and political trajectory that the generation coming behind us will be proud of. So Buhari has done his own 8 years.
But it wasn't better. The change mantra didn't work as preached. All of this message that APC had brought in 2014 hasn't materialized. That's the argument some person are having.
Well, Mike, the way I look at it is this. No government is totally bad, and no government can be said to be totally right. So we can now say, yes, you are quite right that the 8 years of Buhari, of President Muhammadu Buhari, was not a whole lot to write home about. We can agree on that because I share that belief too. But I'm not of the opinion that his government was entirely bad. He may have done quite a few things too, but he did what he did based on what he understood as a president to be done. And let us just leave that alone.
So wouldn't have Nigerians given that excuse that allowed PDP to continue?
No, I don't think so. And for the sheer fact that if you look at the PDP 16 years in government at the federal level, and you try to make a comparison with even as not as good as the regime or the government of former President Muhammadu Buhari was with the 2 years of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, making 10 years so far, and the 16 years of PDP, I would say that PDP actually did worse. Because we said it before the interruption, that we basically, from the beginning of 1999, we basically kicked our problem down the road for somebody else to take care of. If PDP had done what they were supposed to do as a government at the center, since day one, we wouldn't be where we are now. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu wouldn't be doing the kind of heavy lifting, if you will, that he's doing at this particular point in time. But for the past, since the beginning of 1999, things were just left, and the governance was left on autopilot. And the consequences is what we're now beginning to see with the advent of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And it's going to take time for things to actually even out.
All right.
Yeah.
Over the weekend, the president celebrated his 73rd birthday. Some persons gave some goodwill, recalling his days in the struggle for our democracy. But opposition have been speaking. I don't know if I've also been listening to their criticism that democracy is in danger in Nigeria under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That, for instance, even Dele Momodu earlier today, when he was speaking to the media, said, "Don't kill democracy in Nigeria." That is a message he had sent to the president. Some person feel that a man who understands the struggle for democracy probably ought to do better being the president now. How would you measure that? Good luck, former President Obasanjo has spoken over last weekend. A lot of persons are speaking. Peter Obi has spoken about democracy, about freedom of speech, about people, the rule of law, about state capture, that APC are trying to capture more states through the back door, like that of Rivers State. They have raised concern about the judiciary, that all of those matters are components of what makes a democracy right. What is your concern?
Mike, I would just look at this whole thing about democracy being in danger and the lack of freedom of speech and all whatnot as just noise, because if you take a sort of a tally, if you will, of the people saying all of these things, these are people that never really wanted President Tinubu to be president in the first instance. So they are going to come up with all kinds of negativity, all kinds of innuendos, all kinds of things to actually put the president in a bad light before the Nigerian people. So it is politics, and because who's to say that there is no freedom of speech in the polity with the advent of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu? Who is to say that there has not been a significant dose of the rule of law? Who's to say that democracy is in danger? So all these people saying all of these things, when you look at their history, when you look at where they're leaning politically, you will say that almost all of them are members of the opposition who threw everything at the president before he emerged as not only the primary winner, but to become eventually the president of the country. So it is either here nor there, as far as I'm concerned. It's just talk. It's just politics, and politics, as they say, is war by any other means. So they are beginning to beat the drums of war now that the first term of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is getting to the last lap. And of course, they are all struggling for power. That is within their democratic right to do. But to say that democracy is in danger and all of that, no. If anything, in my own view, democracy is being strengthened in this President Tinubu administration.
How about the matter of Rivers State? Some said APC want to come through the back door to capture Rivers State, a PDP state. Now being the governor now on suspension on the House of Assembly. National Assembly have justified that action by confirming it and all of that. But some persons are criticizing, saying there is no provision for the suspension of governor in our constitution. There are means of suspending governor and all of that matter. But for the president, his justification is that for peace to reign, he needed to take that action. So what is your concern about that? That PDP are saying APC want to come through the back door to capture Rivers State?
Well, again, I don't see any merit in what these people are saying. in the first instance, because yes, when you look at the last poll in 2023, yes, PDP won the governorship election, but the APC actually garnered the majority of the votes at the when it came to the presidential election. So what are we talking about? About coming through the back door? Which back door? You know, the president won through the front door in 2023, and he's going to win again through the front door in 2027. So the issue of coming through the back door is, to me, is another red herring that I shouldn't even be given any traction as far as I'm concerned.
Because if you were suspending the governor now, and given a sole administrator is aware of sending the PDP governor out of office.
No, because you have to look at the totality of the issue, Mike, and you'll agree with me that the fight, if you will, and the war, we can actually qualify what happened in Rivers State before the suspension of the governor and his deputy, and also the members of the House as another means of war, and it festered for too long, actually, and we had a situation whereby the governor himself, as the chief of state and the chief security officer and his deputy, and the legislature are the both protagonists and antagonists that has not let peace to reign in Rivers State. So what do you expect the president to do? Just fold his arms and let the state burn? And the state has actually started burning before the president intervened. See, the thing of it is that the Constitution, when it comes to how to invoke emergency rule, gives a lot of room for the president to maneuver, you know, because who's to say that there has not been an extraordinary situation in Rivers State that is beginning to actually affect life and affect freedom and affect the economy of the country, because this is where we have the oil wealth, which is basically our major of foreign earning to begin with anyway. So the people cannot make comparison between what President Tinubu did now and what former President Jonathan did in 2011, if not 2013, because those two cases are different. Because the emergency rule that former President Jonathan brought into being during that time in Borno, Katsina, I think in Yobe, was the result of this unprecedented insecurity occasioned by Boko Haram, in which even the governors of those three states are trying to manage.
And they were not suspended. The governors were not suspended.
No, they're not supposed to have been suspended because they are not parties to Boko Haram. If anything, Boko Haram saw them as the enemy. And if Boko Haram had any chance, they would have been eliminated. So there was no reason for Jonathan to have suspended, because those governors were actually doing the same thing. They are working in cahoot with what the federal government wants of former President Goodluck Jonathan. So the question of suspending them did not arise. But in this particular case of Rivers State, the governor and the legislature are the one causing the breakdown of law and order. So it makes sense, as far as I'm concerned, to basically have these two entities to step aside and let a sole administrator come in, and then with that, nerves will be calm, and nerves have been calm right now. We don't hear of anything about wars and burning of government assets and all of that. So the two cases are different. So the president did what he must do, and I believe that was the right thing to have done.
A lot, of course, to be worried about, because we continue to look at that declaration and knowing how far this works for a journey about democracy. But this coming together of opposition, if what may have happened in 2014 happen again in 2026 and in a build-up for 2027, do you feel that they may be able to unseat President Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
I doubt it very seriously, Mike.
Well, you know what happened in 2014? Opposition came together, parties came together. There was a merger. So yeah, I'm saying in that direction. If PDP, SDP, Labour Party, by paraventure, by political whatever, they come together to merge, do you feel that it will not be a threat to the re-election of President Tinubu?
I don't even see the major political party, the major opposition political party coming together in the first instance. Because, one, are you saying that Peter Obi is going to play sort of a subservient role under somebody? Are you going to say that Atiku Abubakar, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, is not going to run again? Are you going to say that, what is his name, Nasiru El-Rufai is not going to want to be the candidate? And let us, if we do a little analysis of what had happened so far as the gang up of the opposition, Nasiru El-Rufai went to SDP. He announced that the enemies of the president should join him, right? And when he ported to SDP, we can say it has been about maybe a couple of weeks by now. How many of these major political figures has joined him in SDP? So you have to take a look at that. So now politicians are politicians. They will continue to hedge their bets. They will continue to read the tea leaves. They will continue to figure out, okay, if I go to this political party, what are my chances? And the reason why El-Rufai so far has been, forget about what Alhaji Atiku Abubakar said that he was going to come together and all of that. It's not going to happen, because who's now going to be the master and the slave among themselves? And so far, how many of these so-called political bigwigs has joined El-Rufai in his new political party? So when you look at all of this, then you don't have to say, okay, what are we talking about here? Now, that is not to say that they are not going to try, but whether the gang up, if you will, is going to be significant enough. It's going to be tsunamic enough to threaten the re-election of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I doubt it very much, because at the end of the day, Mike, people are beginning to see what this president has been trying to do. People are beginning to see the result, the positive result of the policies and the programs of this president. And that is what is going to count for him at the end of the day.
Some people said it's still hardship.
Hardship?
His policy is still causing a lot of hardship.
Well, that's, to me, hardship is relative, Mike. People might say that, yes, that there is hardship still out there. Everything has not been eliminated, and everything is not going to be eliminated. Not in the next 2 years, perhaps.
No. That there was no hardship in Nigeria, but the policy of moving subsidy has triggered, a whole lot in this country. Look at also the cost of electricity and all of that. These are the arguments of some persons.
Yes, that's the argument. But what would have been the alternative, Mike, if the subsidy had not been removed? What would have been the alternative if there has not been any harmonization on the foreign exchange? The problem would have been worse. The country would have been bankrupt literally by now. And people probably will have been going to the dustbin to see if they can find food at this point. So in other words, if the previous presidents had said in the past that they were going to remove a subsidy, including former President Jonathan, and he never did anything about it. And it was only President Bola Ahmed Tinubu 2 years ago that had the audacity of courage to actually pronounce that subsidy was gone. If these people had done the thing that they should have done by now, we would have weathered the storm. We would have seen a whole lot of benefits, economic benefits and social benefits by that act alone. But again, we can argue all this we want, Mike. But the fact of the matter is that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's predecessor dropped the ball, and they dropped the ball woefully. They did not do the thing that they should have done. They did not have the ball. They did not have the courage. They did not have the gut to say, you know what, I'm going to do this because this is the right thing. And if it's going to cost me my re-election, then so be it. And this is what the president is doing.
So you feel that action of the president is not too much interested about the next election, and his decision was prone to getting this country fixed?
You see, Mike, if you really sit down or sit back to look at what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing, I believe he is pretty much convinced in his mind that the right thing must be done. And if the result of those right things did not materialize by the time the re-election campaign kicks in, and the people says that he is not going to be, that they are not going to vote for him, then so be it. The point is that we had presidents in the past, since 1999, who were so afraid, who would rather allow the country to falter, to fail economically, and to fail in all the indices of development for the sake of their own election. And that's what we have been witnessing. But we have a president now who is saying that, you know what, I'm going to confront this problem headlong. I'm going to look at this problem in the face and tackle it. And he's tackling it. And he's not even thinking about re-election at this point. And I don't believe that he's so fixated in re-election, because if he's so fixated on re-election, he himself will have simply kicked the can down the road for his successor to pick it from there, if he or she could pick it from there. So we have a president who's bold, courageous, who's a visionary. And like I said, the result of the policies and his programs are beginning to yield fruit. And the price of food now is another indication of that. 2 or 3 weeks ago, I forgot what there was this lower inflation rate of like 3.85%. And to me, these are all hallmarks of the result. Yeah, exactly.
All right. I mean, just for the words of what matters to Nigerians is how things could get better, because at the end of the day, it's not really about the politics. It's about how the actions and policies are impacting, on the population.
Mm-hmm.
El-Rufai said APC has derailed from whatever it is, because you were speaking about him. Some person feel that your party have lose, not just a member, but one who was able to pull all it takes for President Tinubu to emerge. He pushed for the Southern presidency. Recall that APC, there were a lot of struggle before the primaries as to where the party ticket should go to. So we've all had likes of El-Rufai pushing for the Southern presidency, mobilizing the governors forum as at that time of APC to back up that. It was a good move compared to what we have in PDP. PDP threw the party ticket open, that Atiku Abubakar emerged, even when the likes of Wike and others, were not happy about all of that. So the conversation about the Southern presidency tops again. If we have those who have believed in the Southern presidency now being kicked out of the party, because he said that your party's actions, whatever the party are doing, are not appreciative enough for him to still remain in the party. That's the reason why he has taken a move. Other voices may speak that same way. And what would you speak on the Southern presidency and the Northern presidency if we have to put all of this thing together ahead of the 2027?
Yeah, let me start by saying to you, Mike, that Malam Nasiru El-Rufai should be given credit for standing up for the right thing. When the northern political hegemonic group was saying that there was something wrong in a northerner succeeding another northerner. So he stood firm. So he should be given credit for that, no doubt. And but that was where that ended. Malam Nasiru El-Rufai would not have seen anything inherently bad in what APC is doing right now if he had been given that appointment as a minister. So you will agree with me, Mike, that this whole thing of PDP, I mean APC having derailed, and it's not the party that they thought they set up, and it was not doing. It's not a party that that has derailed from the program that is set up. Is all talk. It all boils down to an individual whose passionate, political, selfish aggrandizement was not being served by some other powers who decide that, you know what, perhaps due to some security reasons, I mean, security report or the other, that they thought that Malam Nasiru El-Rufai should not be in the government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So it is, to me, it is a self-serving kind of political move. And that's the reason, and people can actually see through all of this. The average Nigerian people can see through all of this, that it is self-serving. Because if he had been given that appointment, it would probably be the first one now to be singing the praises of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and be campaigning for him for election. So when all this, and I've already said that recently, that what he did and what he wants to do is basically has fallen flat on his face, because how many people has joined him in the SDP? He's only the lone wolf, you know, out there in SDP, and the SDP is even saying that, look, we don't want trouble, you know, just put your ego beside, you know, somewhere in the corner if you want to be part of us and all of that. It's just a matter of time, you know, everything will unravel as far as everybody is concerned in SDP.
For Southern presidency, you feel that still what the North will possibly accept this time around, if we'll have all of these persons coming out from the North, Kwango, so for Alhaji Atiku, now El-Rufai joining them again. Some person said, if the North you also push your agenda to come out again, it might be a problem for APC Southern presidency of Tinubu.
Mike, I don't see that as a problem for APC or President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. In the sense that when all these guys and all these politicians from the North, when they come out, if they come out as a presidential candidate, you can pretty much tell that it is basically to remain relevant. Because the politicians, their first duty is to remain relevant. They don't want to be left out in any scheme of things. So even though they know that they're not going anywhere politically, electorally, but they will still come out and say, you know what, I'm contesting. This man is bad. This policy is bad. That program is bad, and all of that. So
it's about grabbing power. You feel what the oppositions and the politicians are doing is about grabbing power?
Of course, basically it's about grabbing power. It's not about, to me, it's not about the intrinsic interest of the Nigerian people. It is about grabbing power for the sake of grabbing power. So and people,
the interest of Nigerians at heart.
Well, basically, if you look at what the Tinubu administration is doing, you will be, I mean, you are laughing as if but quite frankly, if you go through,
all politicians are the same. The politicians are all the same. They just want to get power.
Yeah, but then there are politicians and there are politicians. As far as I can tell, so far now in this political journey that I've started, and that is that Tinubu has differentiated himself in more ways than one. He differentiated himself in Lagos when he was governor among his among his peer at that time, and is now differentiating himself among the presidents of Nigeria in the past with the progressive policies and programs that he has rolled out so far that is now yielding fruit. And these, to me, the test of a leader is when you do things without even considering the negative political consequence for you. And that, to me, is what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been doing.
All right. We'll leave it at that, Mr. Femi Odera, because the conversation will never get exhausted. There will be a lot of feedback, of course, coming in from that interaction. Thanks so much for sharing.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
We'll always have a way of tracking to know how this works. But at the end of the day, what matters is for how this country can move forward and get better, which is just the paramount. Thanks so much once again for joining us on the program.
Thank you.
Everyone, of course, the conversation about a journey where we are going to, the future of this country, is still lies in the hands of everyone. Of course, we'll continue to do our best, hold our leaders accountable, and also ask questions that are most needed to ask at every time and track what government are also doing. But for a generality of the fact that over the weekend, a lot of events that are added just from the presidency, marking the 73rd birthday, and also the Muslim Eid celebration has continued to draw a lot of concern. He has said that FCT will be detached from the Treasury single account just to be able to speed up development of the FCT and enhance resident participation in governance. Some persons are also looking at what that means for the Federal Capital Territory, and of course the controversial minister persons have said new some weaker development in FCT, and of course looking at also the reaction coming from Rivers State's declaration of state of emergency is drawing a whole lot of reaction. Some persons are still having concern about suspension of democratic governance in that state and appointing the sole administrator. What are the precedent this may mean for our journey here in our democracy? This is where we leave it for now. Tonight on the program Big Talk, my name is Edika Michael. Thanks so much for joining us on the show. We will hope to see you again tomorrow on another edition, fresh one, to talk politics. Bye for now.